Hi everyone, my name is Steph. This is the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Last Five video, this time where I'm wrapping up even more romance books. The first book that I'm going to talk about is Limelight by Davies. This is part of the Vino and Veritas series that I have been reading this year. We are following Tag, who is a former rock star who was dumped by his previous band very unceremoniously and has become a beekeeper and a mead maker. And his love interest is Caleb, who is an accountant poet. Not that those two things are linked, but he's an accountant who is also a poet. They meet at an open mic night at Vino and Veritas, and Caleb is reading his poetry on stage for the first time, and Tag is able to help him overcome some stage fright by sitting in the crowd and just kind of being a silent, positive presence. And across the course of the first week of them knowing one another, they fall into this kind of dating routine, and it's very sweet. It's really lovely. It is a very quick kind of relationship progression. There's meeting the parents very quickly. Tag's former life as a rock star is outed by an overzealous reporter, which Tag is not happy about because he was quite happy living a quiet life. The only thing I'll say about this book is that it was a little bit frustrating because when Tag's identity is released or is made known, Caleb is the one who freaks out. Like, he freaks out and makes it all about him, as if, why didn't you tell me this? Like, guys, you've only known each other for a little bit of time. Chill out. Tag doesn't owe you his previous life within the first 5 minutes of your relationship because he's trying to build something different. He has tried to leave that life behind because what his band did was really not okay. And you do get snippets of that throughout the course of the book. But yes, Caleb's reaction was just a little bit over the top and dramatic, so just be mindful of that. Then I read the next two books in the Mount Hope series by Annabeth. So there is On the Edge and Over and Above. On the Edge is an age gap romance. You have Declan, who is a 20-something motocross star who is injured. And then you have Jonas, who is a 40-plus-year-old nurse practitioner who has a really hard time saying no to people that are, you know, his family, his chosen family. This is a dad's best friend romance because Declan ends up staying with Jonas and a number of people. They all have like this share house kind of situation going on. And Jonas happens to be around and is able to help Declan as he's recovering from his injuries because Declan is determined to get back to motocross, and despite the fact that he had a really horrific accident. So if you do not like descriptions of vehicle accidents and resulting trauma and surgery and injuries and things like that, be mindful of that because it's a big thing of this book. Yeah, so dad's best friend, reluctant roommates kind of situation going on. The thing that I loved about this book a lot is that it had a really great discussion around what constitutes sex in a relationship, because neither of our main characters are interested in penetrative sex at all. Like, they're not interested, so they don't have it. And they have discussions around it. They have discussions around what they like, what they don't like. And it's not often something that you see in romance books where characters go, actually, you know what? That's just not my thing. And it's not our thing. So it doesn't need to be a thing. A lot of people, you know, epitomize sex as something going in a hole. This is not that at all. And I'm deeply appreciative of it because everyone experiences sex and sexual attraction and what they like in the bedroom in different ways. And that is one thing that I do appreciate about Annabeth. Her books always have characters being very clear on what they like, what they don't like, their different experiences, how they engage in what a sexual and or romantic relationship means to them. It's always very nuanced in the way that it's been done. So then we have Over and Above, which is Eric's story. So Eric owns the share house that everyone is living in. His partner passed away prior to the start of the first book in this series, and they had adopted a number of kids together. And when his partner passed away, his friends moved in with him to help take care of it and slowly have paired off with various characters. So he is a single dad to 4 college-aged and teen kids, including a really gorgeous character who's been so fun throughout the whole series, who is non-binary and ace. Their name is Ren, and they are just a delightful character who gets up to all sorts of hijinks throughout the course of the book. And then you have Magnus, who is a local bar owner, and he's the father of a kid called Diesel. And essentially, one of Eric's children is Marin. She's in college. She has been dating Diesel, and she comes home and basically says, I'm pregnant, I'm keeping the baby, and I need all of your support. And Eric has a minor implosion because his baby is pregnant and he is not at all happy with Diesel, and he is even less happy when he finds out that Magnus knew before he did. And so Magnus is very good at helping to calm Eric down as the two grandfathers to be. Like, they don't know each other really well, but you know, Magnus has always been attracted to Eric, and then they are brought together when Magnus's house catches on fire and basically is unlivable, and he needs a place to stay. And Eric is a first responder and basically says, you know what, we've got spare rooms. Come and stay. We're going to be family anyway. Come and stay with us while you get back on your feet. It's very much a book about characters who are balancing grief, either over losing a spouse and moving forward, or losing your house, balancing the feelings of becoming grandparents at a really young age and being worried about your kids. And, you know, how do you build a new relationship in your 40s? Like that, all those discussions are great. Again, Annabeth Albert always does a really great job of including older characters in her stories, so it always feels very relatable, particularly for me, as someone who is going to be in her 40s next year, to see these characters who are able to start new things, even though they have a whole past and a whole history of things that they've experienced, and they still get to find their happily ever after. So I appreciate that. Then I read The Holiday Exchange by Riley Hart and Christina Lee. I received an ARC copy of this book for review. So this is a really fun queer holiday romance novella. We have Dawson, who runs a cafe, and he has been enamored by one of his regular customers, Briar, and is just working up the nerve to ask Briar out when his own twin brother walks in with Briar on his arm as a date. And as it turns out, Dawson's brother is not really into committed serious relationships and ends up breaking up with Briar right before the Christmas season. This is devastating to Briar, and Dawson is there to, you know, to talk to him and just sort of be a friend for him. And then Briar asks Dawson to come home with him for Christmas as sort of a fake dating situation, because he just doesn't want to go home feeling like he has not been able to maintain a relationship with anyone. This is the perfect length for this kind of story because it doesn't feel drawn out. It feels very much contained in what it is. It's very Christmassy. It has all those nostalgic feels. It's small town-ish kind of thing going on. And it doesn't get bogged down in the drama that a full-length novel would in playing with these tropes. It's very much this story about two men looking for love and realizing that it's kind of been in front of them the whole time. And there's no real awkwardness about Dawson dating his brother's ex because his brother is really not serious about many relationships whatsoever. And I think what made this work so much is that both these characters actually genuinely like one another. They've liked each other as they've gotten to know each other through Briar coming into the cafe and things like that. So it's really lovely and sweet, and just a short novella for the holiday season. And then the final book I'm going to mention in this video is another ARC that I received, Glimmer in the Dark by Cozy Dubois, who is a non-binary author. This book is really sweet. It's another novella length story. It's about 140 pages long. We are following Rory, who is trans and works as an engineer for a small startup company. He gets really frustrated when a project that he has been working on, doing all of the work on, is handed to another member of the team, and that's Sansa. And Rory just feels like this is a total injustice. He hates his workplace. His boss is a transphobic, homophobic, mansplaining pain in the neck. Rory spends a lot of time venting to his work wife, who is also queer and pregnant, and also cops a lot of slack in the workplace. And she convinces him to, you know what, it's close to the holidays, take some time off. Just go away, do something. You work too hard. No one recognizes your efforts. You might as well make the most of this time. And so he ends up seeing this brochure in the break room about a retreat in Alaska that will allow you to see the Northern Lights. He's always wanted to do that, and so he just books this flight and heads off there. And when he gets to the location, there has been something wrong with the online booking system, and there is no extra rooms. Even though he's paid for the rooms, there's nothing there, and he is freaking out about it until Sansa walks in, because Sansa has also booked a weekend. It's staying in one of the geodomes. Sansa is delighted to see him. Like, Sansa as a character at this point, we don't know much about. We just know Rory's perspective, and Sansa is delighted to see Rory there. And he invites him to come and stay with him in his geodome and to spend the time that he's paid for there, to do all the activities that have been paid for. And it gives them an opportunity to get to know each other outside of the workplace. Rory discovers that Sansa is queer, is also finding work at this place horrible because the boss refuses to call him by his proper name. We also find out that Sansa is aro ace, and that Rory is in a polyamorous polycule. Sort of the way that Cozy Dubois explains those dynamics and how it works and how Rory fits in, and also Rory's current feelings, as there are two different partnerships within this polycule, and he's kind of the glue between them now, and how he's feeling about that situation is really, really fascinating and really interesting to read. Like, it was lovely, because both of these men are grappling with whether or not they want to stay at this job. Rory is freaking out because he basically gets fired over the phone because he hasn't turned up to work. Sansa is just determined to not go back there and is determined to help find jobs for him and for Rory with another company that he used to work for. It's just very sweet. Like, it's just one of those stories that is just a very forced proximity, isolated, closed kind of book where the external drama is not a big thing. So I had a delightful time reading this book. I really loved it, and I'm glad that I requested it, because it's an author that I haven't read before, but I love things set in Alaska. It's just a thing. It's a thing with me. And so those are the last 5 romance books that I have read. In the comments, I would love to know, have you read any of them? Are you planning on picking any of them up? Feel free to let me know. Otherwise, feel free to leave a, oh gosh, what kind of emoji? Leave a star emoji to let me know that you're here. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.